All right, squad, grab your headsets, crank up the spooky tunes, and let's dive into the horror zone. Doesn't matter if it's Halloween or a random Tuesday night, the freaky vibes are always in. Whether you're a horror junkie or the one who's going to scream first, we've got you covered. From zombie-infested nightmares to creepy haunted mansions, it's time to squad up and survive the madness. Let's get it. We play as one of the corporation's prisoners, trying to survive in a madhouse packed with psychos. Meanwhile, we're hustling to collect evidence against Murkoff Corporation and expose their shady business. During the grind, we explore tons of rooms, each with its own freaky creatures. The standouts are Mother Gooseberry and the dirty cop Coil. These two are the main bosses we've got to deal with. And if that wasn't bad enough, there are deadly traps everywhere, just waiting to end our run. The game gives you a lot of freedom in how you want to roll. You can go head-to-head with enemies or stay low-key, hoping they don't spot you. As you level up, you earn experience points that can be used for upgrades. These boosts become real clutch later in the game. In Content Warning, you step into the shoes of thrill-seeking enthusiasts who venture into creepy, spine-chilling places to record videos and upload them to the web, specifically on SpookTube. This is how the crew earns the cash to fund their next wild expeditions. With viewers always craving more intense thrills, the squad has to take bigger risks each time, bringing crazier content for their hungry audience. The game throws you into a first-person perspective, pulling you through all kinds of dark and terrifying spots that you reach via a diving bell. As you explore these eerie locations, you're tasked with uncovering secrets while capturing everything on camera. But you gotta stay sharp. Your oxygen is running out, and so are your camera batteries. If you don't bail in time, it's game over. The places you explore are packed with dangers, ghosts, monsters, and other nightmare fuel. You've got to stay on your toes. Since the squad can't fight back, your options are either running for your life or hanging back and hoping for that perfect shot. Playing it risky, it often ends badly for the crew, but their viewers, oh, they're more than ready to watch the chaos unfold. In classic Jurassic Park style, the scientists in these labs were so caught up in whether they could that they forgot to ask if they should. And now you're stuck cleaning up their mess, either solo or with your squad. Deathground lets you roll with a crew of up to 3 players or go it alone if you've got the guts. Each player picks a unique character class, fully loaded with tools and traits designed to help you complete the critical objectives needed for your escape. Teamwork's key if you want to make it out alive, but the unpredictable AI dinosaurs stalking you mean your game plan's probably not going to last longer than your first encounter. Feathered raptors are fast, sneaky, and have killer senses, so stealth is everything if you want to stay off their radar. We've got no clue how you'll handle the T-Rex stomping around though. With procedurally generated elements and dynamic objectives mixed with those dynamic dinos, Deathground serves up a replayable survival horror experience that'll keep you on edge. Hold on to your butts. In Level 0 Extraction, you're thrown into the action from a first-person view. You roll out as a merc teaming up with up to 3 players. As you navigate through dark, futuristic locations, you're out there gathering valuable intel while taking out anything in your path. Your enemies could be other players controlling soldiers or AI-driven baddies like small mutants or auto turrets. But that's not all. Players are split into 2 groups. Some play as soldiers, while others jump in as alien creatures, hunting down anything that gets too close. And get this, dying doesn't mean you're out. If your character bites the dust, you can still help your squad by hopping into an observation drone to keep an eye on the action and provide support. In Instinction, you can choose to play in either first-person or third-person view. As you explore the massive game world, your main focus is completing quests that drive the story forward. But that's not all. There are also plenty of side missions to keep things interesting, and the gameplay mixes it up with a variety of puzzles. While exploring, you'll need to stay sharp, because both big prehistoric reptiles and smaller, faster creatures will try to wreck your day. The big ones are easier to spot from a distance, and you can avoid them if you're quick, but the smaller ones, they're sneaky, hiding in the thick jungle and ready to pounce. You'll take out these dinos with a range of weapons, from pistols and machine guns to full-on rocket launchers, plus melee weapons for close combat. Over time, you'll unlock upgrades, attachments, and skins for your weapons, giving you more power and customization options. Whether you want to go in stealth mode, creeping through the jungle to ambush dinos, or just unload on anything that moves, it's your call. Killer Klowns from Outer Space, the game, is kind of like Dead by Daylight or Friday the 13th vibes. The gameplay feels like a super intense, creepy game of hide and seek. 3 players suit up as the iconic Killer Klowns, hunting down the poor residents of Crescent Cove. To do that, the Klowns have a whole arsenal of weapons and special abilities at their disposal. On the flip side, you've got 7 residents trying to survive. Players can pick from one of 5 different classes, each with their own unique perks. The goal? Work together and kick the Klowns out of town. Everything goes down on maps with randomized building layouts, so no 2 games feel the same. Scattered around are weapons the residents can use to fend off the Klowns. Plus, the level design lets you get tactical and really organize your strategy. Every match plays out differently, so you gotta stay on your toes. SCP Secret Laboratory is an action multiplayer horror game inspired by the most famous creepypastas. In this game, we find ourselves in the facility of the titular organization, where a breach has let loose all the paranormal creatures they were keeping locked up. In SCP Secret Laboratory, you're diving into the action from a first-person perspective. You can pick from 5 different roles, each with its own unique objectives. The game unfolds in dark, eerie locations, and levels are procedurally generated, so no 2 matches are ever the same. The team that first completes all their mission objectives takes the win. As members of the D-Class staff, aka lab rats or scientists, your goal is to escape the facility alive. If you're part of the Nine-Tailed Fox team, your mission is to wipe out all the threats. Alternatively, you might join the Chaos Insurgency, traitors who help the D-Class personnel escape. Lastly, you can play as various SCP entities, which are the anomalies themselves. They come with different looks and abilities, making each encounter a new challenge. Escape the Backrooms supports single-player and co-op for up to 4 players. Players rarely spawn in the same location, which can be a real hassle since everyone needs to find the exit to escape. This means you should stick close to any fellow survivors you come across, especially since the in-game voice chat only works when characters are nearby. Escape the Backrooms is a first-person game. The game takes place in various locations. These include labyrinthine, abandoned office spaces reminiscent of the original Backrooms creepypasta, underground parking lots, dark service tunnels, and more imaginative areas like a seemingly picturesque fairy tale village. While scouring the Backrooms for an exit, we have to watch out for hostile creatures hunting us. Stay sharp and observe their behavior closely to avoid direct confrontations and make a successful escape. State of Decay 2 is a third-person action game where you get to lead a crew of survivors. Instead of just one main protagonist, the game throws over a dozen characters at you, each with their own backstories, skills, and traits, so you can switch between them on the fly. Together, you'll build and upgrade your own hideout and scavenge for the resources you need to stay alive. The game has a character development system reminiscent of the Elder Scrolls series. Skills level up as you perform related actions. As time goes on, relationships within the group form, some friendly, some hostile, and the most influential characters can rise to become leaders. If a character dies, they're gone for good. The core gameplay loop in State of Decay 2 involves scouring nearby buildings for resources. This usually means sneaking inside and quietly taking out the undead lurking within. You can fight them off with a range of melee weapons, mostly improvised, and firearms, but open combat should be your last resort as it attracts more zombies. The game's excitement is ramped up with story missions, side quests, and a variety of random events. In Sons of the Forest, we play as a survivor of a helicopter crash, stranded in the middle of a massive forest. Our mission is to track down our missing buddies and find a way out. Sadly, the forest is crawling with mutated creatures eager to make us their next meal. To get some grub, we first need to gather wood and craft makeshift weapons. Wood is pretty plentiful, and it's also key to building a sick camp. Think multi-floor compound with a palisade. Smaller shelters just don't cut it after a while, and a stretched-out tarp quickly becomes useless. For weapons, while simple spears and knives will do the trick for non-aggressive critters like turtles, we need some serious firepower to fend off mutants and venture into their turf. Firearms are rare, but we might snag one if we're lucky. Even then, though, we should stay on our toes, as even a stun gun or a high-caliber gun might not be enough against the sheer hordes of mutants. And it only gets worse from there. Soon we'll be up against even more twisted and powerful creatures, and taking them down is a whole different ballgame. An FPP survival horror game where you explore a creepy abandoned hospital and dodge a freaky monster lurking inside. PANICORE is all about evading the beast and solving mind-bending puzzles to make your escape. You can go solo, but it's really designed for epic online coop action. In PANICORE, you play as a member of a fearless crew into urbex, urban exploration. These are the folks who get their kicks from exploring deserted buildings and uncovering the secrets they hold. When the crew dives into the forbidden hospital, things spiral out of control. An unknown, badass force is blocking the exits, and a horrifying monster is hot on your tail. To survive and get out in one piece, you'll need to team up and outsmart the monster at all costs. The gameplay features exploring haunted locations and gathering evidence of ghosts. We use specialized gear for this, like electromagnetic field meters, CCTV cameras, and motion detectors. Some of the gear is controlled from the truck, which serves as our base. One of the team members handles this. It's important to note that the longer we stay in a location, the developers have set up several different spots, ranging from properties, prisons, canals, to hospitals, the more perilous it becomes. There are over 10 unique ghost types in the game, each with its own distinct traits, making each investigation feel fresh and different. Interestingly, the game also incorporates speech detection, which sometimes lets us interact with ghosts using our own voice. Dead by Daylight is built on a classic horror movie formula. 4 regular folks are pitted against a killer who's ridiculously powerful and tough to take down. To stay alive, the survivors need to team up, but that doesn't mean they have to give a damn about their buddies' fates. The game gives you tons of opportunities to stab your allies in the back, since keeping your character alive is the name of the game, even if it means the rest have to bite the dust. When you're the killer, you experience the game from a first-person perspective, but as a victim, you're in third-person mode, which gives you a better sense of direction, like checking out what's lurking around a corner without giving yourself away. The game boasts a variety of killers, each with a unique set of abilities. The kicker is that victim players only figure out who they're up against during their first face-to-face showdown with the enemy. With procedurally generated maps thrown into the mix, the gameplay is super unpredictable, and victims can never truly feel safe. The plot of Left 4 Dead 2 picks up shortly after the events of the original game. Team up with your squad and fend off relentless zombie attacks in the southwestern USA. You'll battle through not only the stunning landscapes of Georgia, but also the French Quarter of New Orleans. In Left 4 Dead 2, you play as one of 4 new characters, Nick, Rochelle, Coach, or Ellis, as you take on zombies and other undead foes, including new boss creatures. To wipe out the ravenous hordes, you've got access to fresh weaponry, including the new close quarters combat gear and special items. Left 4 Dead 2 is a much bigger game compared to its predecessor, featuring a lot more co-op campaigns plus versus mode scenarios. There are also numerous new survival mode maps. The game boasts a detailed stats system, leaderboards, and a rewards system based on unlocking achievements. Lethal Company is set in a seemingly optimistic future, after humanity has spread out into space. But over time, some colonies were abandoned, leaving behind the industrial complexes we built. In this game, we play as scrappers working for the titular company, tasked with collecting valuable loot from these deserted moons. The job's pretty high risk, and we need to hit the company's quota to stay in the game. We'll be navigating through industrial complexes now, crawling with all sorts of nightmarish creatures. Since things get even more sketchy after dark, we have to be on our toes and hustle to get our loot back on the ship before nightfall. If we manage to make it out in one piece, we can use our earnings to snag some cool gear, like flashlights, shovels, walkie-talkies, stun grenades, and various cosmetics for both our scrapper and the ship. If we're feeling bold, we can also scan the creatures we come across to fill out the bestiary. Dead Island 2 picks up right after the first game. The zombie virus has gone berserk and hit California hard. The military couldn't handle the chaos and bailed on Los Angeles, leaving the city on lockdown and its people to fend for themselves. But not everyone is screwed. Some folks turn out to be immune to zombie bites. Rather than turning them into flesh eaters, the infection gives them 6 supernatural powers. That's where we come in, playing as one of these lucky survivors. The game offers an open world set in a sprawling city that's broken up into various districts. Los Angeles is packed with iconic spots to explore, like Beverly Hills and Venice Beach. Throughout the game, we'll tackle story missions and a ton of side quests. As we grind through the game, we'll be hacking and slashing our way through zombie hordes with an arsenal of melee weapons and guns. Besides the usual weak undead, we'll face off against some seriously tough enemies. By leveling up, we'll develop our characters, unlock new abilities, and upgrade them using special cards we collect. We can also boost our combat prowess by snagging better gear. The game's crafting system lets us mod our weapons with extra effects, making things like electric machetes that pack a punch. Alright, Legends, that's a wrap. Hope you're ready to squat up and face the nightmares ahead. Whether you're leading the charge or hiding behind your crew, Just remember, the horror's always more fun with friends. So, hit that like button, drop a comment on your favorite horror game, and don't forget to subscribe for more epic scares. Until next time, stay spooky and game on.